Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to walk through and look at the concept of a supplier portal built using the Content and Experience Cloud and tied in with JD Edwards. So being able to generate purchase orders, submit invoices, be able to track them properly as transactions within JD Edwards, but providing your suppliers with a really easy way of accessing purchase orders, a real easy way of submitting invoices. So let's start by thinking about what happens in JD Edwards. So a procurement manager is logged into JD Edwards and he's got requisitions that are awaiting approval. So he can go through, find the purchase orders, and approve the appropriate ones. And once they're done, find them and print them out. And the idea to understand here is that within JD Edwards, you could configure these reports that get generated by JD Edwards to go to using different types of delivery methods. So in this case, the idea is the purchase order is going to be generated. It's going to be passed off to like a Content and Experience Cloud virtual print driver. And it's going to parse the file name and figure out which supplier this is intended for. It's going to figure out the purchase order number. And based on that, it's going to route that PDF purchase order that's been generated by JD Edwards and store it in a purchase order folder for this particular supplier within the Content and Experience Cloud. So let's take a look at what that would look like. So if we sort of switch gears here, we'll go live now and take a look at the Content and Experience Cloud. We see here an account that's being used for all the JD Edwards activities. Here's the JDE attachments folder, which has folders for all the different transactions where you're attaching documents and files to transactions within JDE. But for the purposes of the supplier portal we're talking about, the interesting thing is the JDE suppliers. So you can imagine this being this long list of suppliers that a company participates and works with. So in this case, we're going to drill down into Dakota Technologies. And you can see for each supplier, there's two subfolders, one for invoices, one for purchase orders. So if we look at purchase orders, there's a brand new purchase order. So that's the purchase order that just got generated by JD Edwards. So the requisition was approved, the procurement manager printed it out, the print driver I talked about figured out where it needed to go and dropped it into the Dakota Technologies purchase order folder. If we drill down a little further and take a look at the actual purchase order, and take a look at some of the custom properties, you can see within the Content and Experience Cloud, you could have custom metadata groups. So in this case, there's specific information about the purchase order. What's of interest is, so far, the supplier hasn't acknowledged that they've seen it. So this acknowledgement flag is set to false. And that's something important we're going to revisit. If we take just a look at how this folder is configured, I want to take a quick peek in the properties. I want to basically show you that it's been configured to work with the Process Cloud service. So when a new file gets placed within that folder, it's automatically going to trigger this Vision PO notification process. So what that's doing, the first thing that process is going to do is actually say, okay, this is for supplier Dakota Technologies. The contact for that is John Dunbar. I'm going to send John Dunbar an email. So let's see if I've got an email. Go back to my emails. You can see I've actually received, a PO acknowledgement email saying, hey, there's a new PO. I'd like you to take a look at it and acknowledge receipt. So I can click on here and that'll take me right to the PO within the supplier portal. Now I've got a bunch of different browsers going here to show you different actors within the demo. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to copy the location and put it into a brand new tab in this other browser where I can be John. And as you can see, it's taken me right in to the purchase order. I can view the purchase order. This is an embedded version of the Content and Experience Cloud's viewer. I can see the full purchase order. I can see information about the purchase. And so as John, I can say, oh, that's great. Yeah, everything looks good. Okay. acknowledge it. So I've gone off and I've acknowledged it. Now I might have other purchase orders. So one of the things in this portal is a list of purchase orders. So I can see all the recent purchase orders. The green ones have all been acknowledged. The red ones haven't yet been acknowledged. So I can come in here and go back to the view page. I can download a copy if I want, or even acknowledge it directly from here. So that gives you an idea of an easy way of notifying your suppliers about POs and an easy way of them coming back and acknowledging them. And if we switch back and go back into the purchase order, you'll notice the flag that used to say false now says true. And that's really important because the process that we were talking about that was initiating this email to John, it's set up to monitor this flag. So it's going to see, oh, it's now been true. So now it can tie back into JD Edwards. It can inform the procurement manager that it's been acknowledged. You can update flags within JD Edwards. So you've got this automated way of doing acknowledgement, PO acknowledgement, rather than, you know, sending out a whole bunch of emails. Hey, John, did you see the purchase order? Did you see the purchase order? So it's really an interesting way of automating things in a seamless manner. So let's return to the portal. Go back. I'm going to go to the home page. And you'll see here it recognizes who's logged in. When I went in here, I had pre-logged in as John to sort of make the demo flow work a little better. But you can see John is logged in. And what we've done from here is we've made it so that you could upload invoices. So let's say John has taken care of this purchase order. They've shipped the merchandise that was being requested by Vision Logistics. And hey, now he wants to get paid, right? So I have an invoice here. Actually, let's give it a new number. I've done that other one before. So we can take this and drag and drop it over here. Let's say these were for, I don't know, iframes number 4567. I don't remember which one it was. For $5,000, oops, $50,000, and we could put the date, today's date. Great, let's send the invoice. So easy as that. John has sent off and sent an invoice. What's happened? It's gone and been uploaded into that same folder structure we were showing before. So we can come back here. Go back up to Dakota Technologies. We're going to go look at the invoices, and you'll see there's like a brand new 3278 brand new invoice that just came in. And we can take a look at, you know, some of the fields that are in there, the invoice number, the amount that I put in, and similarly, this is triggering what we call an invoice validation process. So the same techniques being used in this folder, which means the procurement manager can be notified, hey, there's a new invoice you need to deal with, or, you know, it could be automated to automatically create a transaction within JD Edwards. So if we come back and just should have an email, here we go. So you see I've automatically got an email telling me, hey, there's a brand new invoice, requires your approval, here's some information. So we've now automated not just sort of the outgoing kind of purchase orders, but now we've got inbound invoices coming into the system. So we're using the Content and Experience Cloud, we're using the Oracle Process Cloud in combination with JD Edwards to sort of tie this all together and to automate these different processes. So let's quickly take a look back here. There's a few other things you might want to do. Maybe John needs to update their banking information. So this is a custom component that can pull profile information from the supplier information that's within JD Edwards. Perhaps he wants to update his account information. Other things he could do, you could do in a supplier portal is, remember, Content and Experience Cloud is first and foremost a place for putting digital assets, a place for authoring content, news articles, blog articles, videos. So you can use the Content and Experience Cloud as a place, as a central content hub for all your digital assets, all your structured content, and then deliver it out to your suppliers. Anything that's of relevant information to them, any new updates that need to go out, any announcements could easily be authored within the Content Experience Cloud, and you could sort of surface them up, sort of like we've done here. Just here's an example of that page in the Oracle Sites Cloud in the edit mode, and you'll see it's just a set of components that you've picked from the palette within the Sites Cloud. So it's super easy to put together. Some other things you might be interested in is PCS, the Process Cloud Service, has this concept of forms where you create a form, a start form. So the process starts by you filling in a form and then clicking a button to get it going. And what we support within Sites is sort of a component called a start form component. You drag and drop it on your page. You pick the process you want to surface and the form you want to surface. So this whole form here could be designed within PCS. So now you've provided an easy way for your suppliers to say, hey, I need some help on something. Now, the last thing I want to do is I just want to go back. It's been a while. John submitted the invoices. Hasn't been paid. So he wants to come in here and say, hey, pay me. So he can go in and do escalations. That form I just showed you, that could be done through PCS. That could be a process, an escalation process. So hopefully this gives you some ideas of the way in which you could use all the things together. Just one last thing to show you. This is the Process Cloud Service. These are the two processes that were being used within the portal. So here's the Vision PO notification process. So that's what was triggering that email to tell me that there was a brand new PO to look at. And here's the Vision invoice review, which has somebody get notified that there is a new invoice, brings them into PCS so they can take a look at the invoice, verify files. You could even tie this together with Web Center Capture and have these invoices automatically scanned and do sort of character recognition. So it could pull out the date, the amount, the PO number automatically even. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good sense of how you could use Content Experience Cloud, Process Cloud, and JD Edwards and tie them all together and really build some nice experiences for your external suppliers. It could also be for your customers, could be for partners. Really, this is one pattern, but you could easily build off of this pattern and, build something custom that meets your needs. And we'd love to talk to you about it. Thanks for listening.